Namaskar. The Union Budget 2025-26 has already been presented on 1st of February 2025. Today we are going to discuss the Union Budget. So when we try to analyze the budget, we should know the goals or the context of the budget. And if we see the long-term goals of India, then India has set a goal to achieve all the sustainable development goals by 2030. So it is not only India which has set this goal to achieve SDG by 2030, rather it is actually an international mandate that India should achieve the 17 sustainable development goals by 2030. So we should see whether India will be or this budget will be basically helpful in achieving the SDGs by 2030. Similarly, India has also set a goal to achieve the goal of Viksit Bharat by 2047, when it will be celebrating 100 years of independence. And by Viksit Bharat, India wants to become a $30 trillion economy, which is actually presently nearly about $4 trillion economy. So, how do we transform Indian economy from a $4 trillion economy to $30 trillion economy? Similarly, India's per capita income is at present $2,481, and to become a developed Bharat or Viksit Bharat, India should transform its per capita income from $2,481 to 20,000 per dollar in 2047. So for this, India needs to grow at minimum 7.1 or more to achieve this goal. So will this budget be helpful to achieve these goals, particularly SDGs by 2030 and Viksit Bharat by 2047? Now, if you look at the present economic outlook of India, then we can see actually different estimates. The economic survey gives the number that India will grow between 6.3 to 6.8 percentage in 2025-26, and similarly, the IMF publishes a World Economic Outlook, and it says that India will grow about 6.5 percentage in the coming fiscal year. So that means India is already growing slower than that is required, that is 7.1 minimum to become a developed country. So can India really revive its growth? Of course, you can say that the present economic growth of India is still much higher than the major economies. The world average is about 3.2 or 3.3 percentage. Advanced economies are growing on an average at 1.7 percentage. Emerging and market economies are growing at 4.2 percentage. China is growing at 4.8 percentage or below 5 percentage. And in this context, India is growing at 6.5 percentage, because after COVID-19, there are a lot of supply chain disruptions, and then the war between Russia and Ukraine, and then Israel and Palestine has disrupted the supply chain, and that has reduced the growth rates. So, but India actually, since it has set a goal to become a developed country by 2047, needs to grow at 7.1. So India needs to work hard to increase the growth rates from 6.5 or 6.6 or 6.8 to 7 or 8 percentage to achieve those goals. And this budget gives thrust to accelerate the growth, secure inclusive growth, and then also encourage private sector investments, uplift, uplift the household sentiments, and enhance spending power of the India's rising middle class. And when we say Viksit Bharat, the government actually means that there should be zero poverty, and there should be 100% quality education, access to high quality, affordable, and comprehensive healthcare, 100% is skilled labor with meaningful employment, 70% is women in economic activities, farmers making our country the food basket of the world. Particularly, we need to reduce the dependency on edible oil and pulses. And this budget also has given thrust quite a lot on those things. And the major focuses on the of this budget are on Garib, Youth, and Annadata and Nari. And this budget has given 10 major broad thrusts, and those are agricultural growth and productivity, then building rural prosperity and resilience, taking everyone together, that means inclusive growth, boosting manufacturing and furthering Make in India program, supporting MSMEs, enabling employment and employment-led development, investing in people, economy, and innovation, securing energy supplies, promoting exports, and nurturing innovations. Now, I will talk about the major highlights. This budget has given importance to comprehensive program for vegetables and fruits, and then a Makhana board has been proposed for Bihar, and then a national mission on yielding seeds. India Post will basically, okay. So I was telling that agriculture has got a lot of importance to make India self-reliant in pulses and edible oil. And then India, the government wants to use the India Post broad network that we have. Almost in major villages, as we have in the presence of the India Post. The government wants to basically use actually India Post as actually banks in all rural areas, and then government wants to provide credit cards for micro enterprises, and government wants to promote labor intensive sectors to generate employment, and focus product schemes for, we have actually launched PLI, and government wants to focus on product scheme for footwear and leather sectors. And government is also eyeing on developing actually toy industry in India, because we import a lot of toys from China, and already government has given a lot of incentives to the toy industry makers. Government is doing toy exhibition in Delhi to attract investors and also promote this sector. Then government wants to strengthen the Make in India program in order to achieve the nutritional objectives. Government is trying to promote Saksham Anganwadi and Poshan 2. Then to encourage innovation at school and early level of education, government is establishing Atal Tinkering Labs. 50,000 Atal Tinkering Labs will be set up in government schools in next 5 years to cultivate the spirit of curiosity, innovation, and foster scientific temper among young minds. Government wants to also provide broadband connectivity to government secondary schools and PHCs, and government wants to expand the capacity of IITs by increasing number of seats, and government, in order to cope up with artificial intelligence, government wants to establish a center of excellence in AI for education, and then expansion of government is trying to expand the number of seats in medical colleges, and government wants to provide a start at least daycare center, cancer centers in all district hospitals. In previous budgets, actually, we have heard that government has started already the dialysis facilities in every district hospitals, and through this budget, government wants to now provide daycare cancer centers in all district hospitals. And then government wants to also monetize assets. Then government has expanded the Jal Jeevan Mission to 2028. Through this scheme, government wants to provide drinking water to all households everywhere. And then, in order to fulfill the energy needs of the growing India or Vikasit Bharat, government wants to promote the nuclear, particularly to achieve the clean energy mission. Government wants to promote nuclear energy, and government wants to strengthen the ship building industry in India. And in order to increase the air connectivity, government is promoting the Udan scheme, and then government is providing housing to housing facilities to all under the special window for affordable and mid-income housing, that is Swami program. And then government wants to promote tourism, particularly in eastern part of India, to generate employment and strengthen the economy. So government also wants to promote medical tourism and Heal in India program. Government wants to also promote research and development and innovation, for which 20,000 crore has been allocated. And under Gyan Bharatam mission, government wants to document the manuscripts available in India palm leaves and other things are valuable books. And uh, for tax reform, Government of India has basically taken a lot of measures to simplify the tax processes, particularly faceless assessment. Tax charter has been created, and then government is processing the returns much faster compared to the past using technology and AI. And almost 99% of the returns are being done actually on self-assessment, and government has launched Vivad Se Vishwas scheme to basically address the past no say pendencies in the tax and all kind of no delays that can be sorted out. Now coming to the indirect tax, a lot of indirect now major indirect tax is GST, and GST is decided by the GST Council. And but here in the budget, usually the custom duty is discussed. And so government has tried to give relief on import on drugs and medicines, and support the domestic manufacturing and value addition. Government wants to promote, basically it has reduced the taxes, excise duty on critical minerals. Import has become smoother, and then similarly to promote textiles, it has reduced the custom duty. Uh, the materials that we require for producing textiles. Similarly, on electronic goods, lithium-ion battery shipping sector, government has reduced the excise duty. And for promotion, export promotion, government is now encouraging exports in leather, textiles, marine products, and handicrafts. In direct tax, government has now increased the limit for tax deduction on interest for senior citizens, which is now doubled from 50,000 to 1 lakh. Now, no TDS will be deducted for the senior citizens who earn 1 lakh rupees rate of interest from the fixed deposits. Similarly, the annual limit of 2.4 lakh people actually who earn rent up to 2.4 lakh, there will be no TDS, and which has been now increased to 6 lakh rupees. And the threshold limit to collect tax at source on remittances under RBI's liberalized remittance scheme is proposed to be increased from 7 lakh to 10 lakh. So that means people working abroad now can transfer more remittances to India, which will not require actually any kind of tax at source up to 10 lakh. Now, coming to the personal income, no income tax will be payable up to income 12 lakh, that is average income of 1 lakh per month, other than special rate income such as capital gains under new tax regime. So, people who have income up to 12 lakh, no tax is required to be paid. And this limit will be now 12.75 lakh for salaried taxpayers due to standard deduction of 75,000 rupees. So that means people who, particularly for the salaried class, who earn income up to 12.7 lakh will not have to pay any tax. But then if your income exceeds 12.75 lakh, then you will have to pay the tax as follows. That means up to 4 lakh, no tax, and the tax between your income between 4 to 8 lakh will attract 5% as tax. Income 8 to 12 lakh will attract 10% as tax. 12 to 16 lakh will attract 15% as tax, and 16 to 20% will attract 20% as tax. 20 to 24 lakh will attract 25% as tax, and people who have income above 24 lakh will have to pay 30% as tax. So, people who, if you take an example, then the tax payers in the new regime with an income of 12 lakh will get a benefit of 80,000 rupees. And a person having income up to 18 lakh will get benefit up to 70,000 rupees. And a person with an income of 25 lakh will get a benefit of 1 lakh 10,000 rupees. So that means the lower middle income class is going to really get a lot of benefits from this tax structure. And government has done this to encourage basically spending, and also, yeah, so that's how it can help economy to revive. Now coming to the receipts that the government collects, this year the budget is nearly 50 lakh crore, and or little above, so it is almost 51 lakh crore. And how is the government collecting that amount? Then we see that corporate income tax contributes 17 percentage, income tax, individual income tax contributes 22 percentage, customs contribute 4 percentage, union excise contributes 5 percentage, goods and services tax contribute 80%, 18 percentage, non-tax receipts contribute 9 percentage, non-debt capital receipts, that means basically when we do selling of the public goods like public assets, like say disinvestment proceeds from say public sector undertakings will be considered as non-debt capital assets, that contributes about 1%. Borrowing contributes about 24 percentage. That means government borrows 24 percentage for capital expenditure. And also there is a revenue deficit, so some amount also goes for the revenue expenditures. And how government spends all this money? 20 percentage goes for interest payment. Defense sector no, gets 16 percentage, and then central, okay, sorry, defense sector gets 8 percentage, and subsidies, actually suppose food, fertilizer, and so on, get 6 percentage. Finance and finance commission transfers basically to states get 8 percentage, and then state share in union taxes get 22 percentage. Pension takes away about 4 percentage, and then centrally sponsored schemes get 8 percentage, and central sector schemes usually get 16 percentage. So this is how the money is spent. Now, in the past, actually, the fiscal deficits actually had gone up, particularly during COVID-19. Government had to actually violate the fiscal FRBM norms. As per FRBM norms, fiscal deficit should be within 3% of GDP, and the revenue deficit should be zero. Then during COVID-19, the fiscal deficit went up to 9.2 percentage, revenue deficit should be zero, went up to 7.3 percentage, and effective revenue deficit went up to 6.1 percentage, and primary deficit went up to 5.7 percentage. So government has been trying hard to bring this down to the FRBM norms, and this fiscal year government is proposing to bring down the fiscal deficit to 4.4 percentage, and revenue deficit to 1.5 percentage, and effective revenue deficit to 6.8 percentage, and primary deficit to 6.3 percentage. Now, how the government finances all these borrowings? In fact, the major source of financing is through market borrowing. The green line that we see at the top shows actually the market borrowing. Basically gives the major amount, and then government mobilizes also revenue through securities against small scale savings and short-term borrowings. Now, coming to the trends in tax receipts, direct tax contributes, particularly the individual income tax contributes the major amount, and then indirect taxes contribute 7 percentage, direct taxes contribute 4.9 percentage, and that's how gross tax receipts is about 12 percentage of GDP, and which has no increased marginal, you can say, from 11 percentage in the past to now 12 percentage. And then coming to the receipts, whatever receipts, okay, of the center that comes, the major component is, the blue part is center's net tax revenue, and then non-tax revenue, that means after the transfer to the states, it is actually now 28.4 lakh crore is basically center's net tax revenue after transferring to the states, and then non-tax revenue 5.8 lakh crore, and then non-debt capital receipt 0.8 lakh crore. And then composition of expenditure, which we have already pointed out in the graph. And then if you see in lakh crore, we had discussed in percentage, and here it is in lakh crore. Then we see that first actually establishment expenditure is about 5.68 percentage, And then central sector schemes, establishment expenditure is 5.68 lakh crore. Central sector schemes get 16.22 lakh crore, and other central sector expenditure comes about 15.26 lakh crore, and then centrally sponsored schemes get 5.42 lakh crore, and then finance commission grants 1.33 lakh crore, and other grants and loans that government gives, that has share as 3.7 lakh crore. And then total expenditure in revenue account and effective capital expenditure as a percent of GDP is 14.2 percentage, and so that means the revenue expenditure is declining. During COVID-19, it had gone up to 17.7% of the GDP, and this has gone down to 13.2 percentage. And then in the capital expenditure has gone up steadily to 15.5 lakh crore, and during COVID-19 it was only 6.4 lakh crore. And then transfer to the states has gone up to now 25.6 lakh crore, compared to the previous year, 22.7 lakh crore. And then if you look at the composition of the transfer to the states, then we have uh, finance commission grants. So the major component is of course devolution as a formula. No, the formula decided by the finance commission. Share of states in the union taxes that actually takes about 14.22 lakh crore, and then finance commission grants 1.33 lakh crore, and then different under different schemes government is proposing to give 10.05 lakh crore. So if you see the budget size, then this is how actually it has been distributed, which has been discussed in the percentage term, and this is actually how the government gets the revenue from different sources, and so the total budget size is 50.65 lakh crore. And yeah, this is also basically the receipts of the government, and this is the expenditure heads of the government. Now, if you see under which departments actually how much money has been allocated, then we see that government has tried to reduce the fertilizer, basically the subsidies under food, fertilizer, food, and petroleum, but the expenditure has increased. No, under pension, defense subsidy, and so on. Expenditure under different departments, the government has tried to reduce the expenditure under fertilizer, food, and petroleum, and the other departments have witnessed a rise in the expenditure. And we should also know that usually the expenditures will increase, but then at what percentage every department actually has seen a rise in the expenditure. Then in that case, we see that education department has not really got much rise in the expenditure. Other departments have witnessed rise, except a few like external affairs has got less, and most of the other departments have witnessed rise in the expenditure. And science and technology department has also got a major, particular scientific departments have got no major, rise, have got actually huge amount of allocation compared to the previous years. So overall, the total budget this year is going to be 50 lakh 65,000 crore. So you can say almost actually 51 lakh crore, and we discussed actually the major projects on which the money is going to be spent. Thank you so much. If you like the video, then please subscribe and press the bell icon button, and share this video, and definitely give your comments on our discussion. And if you want to get more such videos, you can also comment like what kind of videos you are looking for.